Hey everybody, Hunter back again for part number 7 of the Super Detailing a Dash. This time we're going to be doing the final wash on the wood grain, and then we'll move on to the next stage. So I'll pan the camera down here and I'll show you how we're going to go about doing this. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom in a little bit closer this time around, and I forgot to do that last time. And what we're going to be doing is, this is the color that we used the last time. This is the orange brown with the little hint of red in it. And I put a little bit more water in there and reactivated that. And we're also going to be mixing in a drop or two of light rust wash. And this is also from Model Color, and it's part number, well, we get it to zoom in here. Well, it's not going to zoom. Anyway, part number is 505 on that. And we're just going to put a drop or two of this in, just to kind of redden this dash up a little bit and get it more along the lines of sort of a mahogany appearance. Because I think I'm going to do this, spray this dash with a more of like a reddish color, a deep red. We're just going to mix that around a little bit and see if that's the color that we're looking for. See, that kind of reddens it up a little bit. And same process that we did before. Nothing's really changing. This is just another step in the wash process. And we're just building layers. And one thing about this, I mentioned it in the last video, is this is something here that also will teach patience. If you go through each one of these steps, I know a lot of people watching the video probably won't. They'll skip some of these steps, and you know, that may or may not be a good thing. That's just, you know, however you want your project to come out that you're working on. But you know, I don't recommend really skipping any of the steps that we're doing, because you know, I'm doing all these steps for a reason, to show you how it comes out. And what I'm going to do now is actually put a couple more drops of this in there, this red. I'm trying to get it to redden up a little bit more than what it is now. It seems to be going back to the same orange tone that we had. So just dropping a little bit more paint in there. And like I said before, you know, this is one of those things that the ratio kind of changes. You just kind of have to change it on the fly to get what you're looking for. There's no real formula to it. It's just whatever color you're looking for, and, you know, consistency of paint. But just make sure you keep it thin enough where it's transparent and it flows. So let's see what we have now. Oh, I think that's looking much better. So we're actually going to drop this in, and we're going to make it a little bit heavier this time around. We're not going to spread it out quite as much. And this will be our last coat of color that we'll put down to simulate our wood grain. And then we'll be going back after this and touching everything up, which is a pretty quick process to do, no big deal. We'll be touching up around the, now that's actually something there you don't want to do. When I was putting that on, I actually got some of the wash down in the gauge itself. So I always keep a Q-tip around. It comes in real handy for that. If that happens, go ahead and dip the Q-tip down in that gauge and get that excess wash out of there. Because once it dries in there, it's going to change the color of your gauge, and then you'll have to go back and redo it. So there's another one of them mistakes. So see, you know, even those guys that are real particular about what we do, I mean, there's still mistakes to be made. It happens all the time, and you know, that's just part of this game. So always remember that nobody's perfect, and anybody that thinks they're perfect in this game, they haven't seen a lot of models yet. I know a lot of guys come to the competitions, and, you know, they think that they got the best thing that ever hit a table, and those guys are usually sadly mistaken at the end of that day, because a lot of times they don't even place. And You know, it's just it's kind of a funny thing when people start thinking they're perfect and they're better than everybody else. You know, there's always something to learn. Just like I said in the last video, I learn every time I build a model. And that's why I want to go back and redo some of my tutorials, because even though I'm using that same, maybe the same procedure or whatever, I'm getting the results to come out better. So I'd like to keep everybody up to date on, you know, the new Showtime Studio standards as far as, you know, tutorials and how we want things to come out. And that way nobody can say that I'm not putting all the information out there for, you know, everybody to see. I'm pretty much showing you all the tricks to it, and you know, what we use here at Showtime Studios to build our award-winning models. And if you put the right amount of time into it, and you know, you have the talent and the skills, you can do the same thing. So, but we're almost done here with this last coat of wash, and I think it's looking pretty good. Now, the other thing to remember on this also is when this dries, it's going to be extremely flat. And if you want it to look kind of like a newer type of wood and not as aged, you can spray that down with a clear coat. And that's probably what I'm going to do on this, is spray this down with a clear coat before we get into painting the dash, just to seal all of this down. And some people will go in between and seal in between each wash. I don't do that a lot, but you can do that if you want to. But I think what we have on the dash now is pretty much the color that I'm looking for, and you know, it kind of has the antique appearance. So we're going to go ahead and turn the hair dryer on and dry this off. And if you've noticed, we've been doing a lot of repeating, same steps over the last couple of videos, but it's all part of the process. Now, one thing I noticed that was happening here on this, and this is a little trick that you can do. You can take your wider brush, and if you have some excess wash that's hanging around the sides of your detail, like in this case we have some hanging down the sides of the dash here, go ahead and just take that wide brush and just touch it in there and let it wick that paint out, or that excess wash out of there. And that way you don't have a solid line of color around the outer edges or around your detail. So just lightly go in and just touch the brush in there and pull that excess out. And we have the same thing down here at the bottom. You know, and a little bit of it's fine, because like I say, that will help out, add the shadow to it. But some of it you want to pull back out, and you just take a moistened brush and just touch it in there, and it'll pull it right back out. Alright, so now we're going to go back to drying that off. Okay, that's actually dry enough to hold up here and show you what we're working with and what it's looking like so far. And I like the wood grating. I think it looks pretty good. And once we get a clear coat across that, it'll look a whole lot better. So in the next video, we're going to go ahead and start doing the final touch-up on some of the colors and the final dry brushing, which will be very precise. And then we'll be moving on to getting the color on the top side of the dash and the sides and this little band down through the center here. We'll be doing the actual color of the dash, which I think is going to be more of a dark red or a burgundy, and that should come out pretty good. But trying to get the camera to zoom in here again one more time, just to give you an idea of what everything looks like. There we go. So that's what we're looking like now. You can see the dials on or the needles on the gauges. The gauges are looking pretty realistic, and we got some nice colors in there to make the dash pop out. And once we get the clear coat down and get the dash painted, and whatever, you know, if we use semi-gloss clear on the dash itself and a gloss clear on the wood grating, we'll go back in and do a black wash around everything, which will really shadow it and make it pop out, and this thing will be done. So that's all we have for this part. Stay tuned for part 8, which will be coming up real soon. And like always, I thank you for watching and supporting Showtime Studios, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.